And
That's
they're
fat that I know that.
It was, it was the Beastie Boys made this song called Cookie Puss, and then they would prank call a bunch of DJs and be like, "Hey, you heard of that Cookie Puss? What you think about that Cookie Puss?" And they're just like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And they would just say, "Yeah, them Beastie Boys, they put out a thing about Cookie Puss. What you think about that?" And we're like, "I don't know what the hell you're talking about." And then that's how like people
That's
are
how
like,
they promoted it.
"Who the hell are the Beastie Boys? And what the fuck is this Cookie Puss thing?" And then everyone, I mean, this is before, social media and everything, so everyone was actually listening to the radio.
Who in the hell made up Cookie Puss? Like, what the hell kind of name is that?
Can you imagine?
It's like a kid's ice cream, ice cream cake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Cookie Puss, like some evil person's laughing their ass off about that one.
That sounds like a slur, to be honest. Like, you fucking cookie puss. Like, that's what I would say to someone if I was a kid.
I think you should start that. I think that'd be a really good thing. Now we're gonna get calls in like calling us Cookie Puss.
Yeah. Anywho, there we go. Okay, now we're all rolling.
So was that a call?
No, so I think so. We got some feedback because like when we laughed, it was like so much that it like exploded the phone. But anyways, yeah.
Right.
So we'll turn on the phone lines soon. But basically, anybody that's listening to this live, you guys will actually have an opportunity to call us. The number is 206-737-7369. It's in the description if you guys need it. But and on top of that, you guys can actually text that number, and every time we do a call-in show, you guys will get notified right there on your phone. Let us know in the like if you guys are watching it live or listening live, I should say, how it's sounding, how it looks. Obviously, it doesn't look like anything on the YouTube side, but if you guys can, file in the comments, let us know what it sounds like. Let us know if you need it louder, quieter, if we sound too loud, whatever it is. And then also just be on the lookout for when the phone lines are open, and we'll also let you guys know. Well, bam.
That's pretty cool.
It's sick, dude. Yeah.
So this is going to be so we're just going to see how this goes more than anything.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. This is a good. We usually do a dry run. We call it a dry rub. But today we're just jumping right to the deep end, though. We figured we had Jesse Burdick in the house.
This is a dry hump of the of the call-in.
Yeah.
What you been doing with yourself, Jesse Burdick? There's some quarantine stuff going on. Like, what have you been doing? At home, you've been able to hang out with your kids a little bit more and stuff like that. You got a baby on the way. I mean, all kinds of craziness going on.
I do. Yeah, just I think like most parents, just trying to manage having kids at home and understanding that the whole distance learning thing, if it's not planned out really well, turns into a homeschooling type of situation. And then you also. So I'm lucky that the girls, they're 12 going on 13, and they're really good students, and they're on top of stuff. So we don't really have to manage stuff. It's more of just like trying to keep them on schedule and stuff.
Yeah, having some sort of schedule, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's been challenging because I was talking to Ape about it, where it's like the first couple weeks they had like a half an hour of schoolwork to do each day. I'm like, come on, you can't be done. And then the week after they had about like. They weren't done till 6 p.m. And you're like, wow. What are you guys doing? But I think this really does go to show that, the in-school teaching, really does have to be adjusted to a distance learning type of thing. And, it's of no, my parents are teachers, and, teachers, and, we know that they work extremely hard for pennies, on the dollar per hour when you come down to it. So we know that they're working hard and they're trying to figure it out. But it's clear that this was never a thought for these people, for anyone in a grade school or a high school, where they're like, we should have a distance learning, protocol for just in case something happens. That's never ever been, uttered. And I think now they're trying to play catch up, and where my mom teaches in, rural Pennsylvania, they had to go and give everybody hotspots because the interwebs don't reach out into the middle of absolute nowhere. And then they gave them the hotspots, and then they mailed them to them. They're like, okay, cool. So how do I turn this on? So then they had to come out and teach them how to turn them on, how to get them connected. And my mom teaches kindergarten. So these are kindergarten kids that you're given you're given a tablet and a Wi-Fi thing, and they're going to like listen to my mom read them a story, because that's all that you can do when you're distance learning with those kids. But you know what? It's I've never taken a vacation more than maybe a week. So for the first couple of weeks, it was like, hey, this is all right, catch up on some sleep, catch up on some reading, do some other stuff. And after 2 weeks, I was bored as hell. It's just, and on top of that,
A little stir crazy.
yeah, and on top of that, it's not like a kick your feet up, cool kind of thing, because you have no idea what's going on, and your livelihood is being negatively affected. You have other people who are losing their jobs, unemployed, and it just kind of goes way.
Yeah,
way
you
down.
and your wife both train and coach a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think you both do a lot of online work, but you do a lot of in-person stuff as well.
Yeah, I do online stuff, and helping out with markbell.com at this point too. But I actually really prefer
Programming for Super Training Gym for a long time now.
Yes, I prefer to do in-person stuff personally, because I think that most of the time when you do online stuff, you're getting even at my best, I don't know, like 60%. Like when you actually see someone in person, you can do so much more. So
yeah, we've talked to a bunch of people that you train, and I think that every person that you train, when we talk about you, they start crying. I don't know if it's
emotional connection.
I don't know if it's because of the pain that you make them go through, but they have a strong emotional connection because you do a great job as a coach.
And I mean,
You're not going to get that. Probably not going to get that same synergy like online.
Yeah, it does become difficult, because I think coaching is the word coach for me, and I believe you too, and a lot of other people. It should hold a little bit more reverence than I think it does. I mean, you can be an online coach and never have gone to school or never anything. And, I really put a lot into trying to figure out who I am dealing with, what motivates you, what's your past, how can I relate what I'm trying to teach you. I want to learn how you learn so I can teach to your learning style, and I want to know what motivates you. And, I want to be able to have you come into the gym kind of just like
something I noticed that you do a really good job of is you put yourself into the other person's shoes a lot of times, because I've had trouble with people in the past, and you're like, well, you got to think about, like, okay, from his perspective, here's what he's hearing. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, I think Jesse's right. Like, damn.
I mean, my background is, psychology and sociology, and, the books I listen to and read are all about motivation and trying to figure out how to get people to do stuff. And, we always talk about how do you start, what I mean? And, it's just like
just go.
Right. And I mean, but you can say just go a million different ways. You just got to find the right way to say it. So it's been an interesting, doing the stuff online has been, it's kind of blown up. But I think it also, everyone is kind of like, whoa, you can do all this stuff online. But at the same time, I get messages every day from my client, from all my lifters and clients who I see in person and who I have seen every day for the past, I don't know, 10 years or something along those lines, who are just like, this isn't the same. This is not cool. I do not like this. And so it's been a challenge to keep people a little bit sane, I guess, and try and just, I think more than anything, most people as human beings, we really want some structure, because that gives us a feeling of, contentment, and that everything's going to kind of be okay, whatever your level of okay is. And when there's so much unsure, and there's so much up in the air, and you don't know if your job's going to come back, you've been furloughed, you don't know how long your unemployment's going to last, you don't know if you have a job when you come back, you know what I mean? There's so many things, and the stress levels and kind of the mental health aspect of things it's just starting to kind of peek its head out. And I think a lot of the stuff that's kind of going on very, very currently is because of people who've been locked up for 3 months. And they're kind of just, they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They're angry. They're scared. And people are just lashing out in all sorts of different ways. And I mean, I think this is, we want to talk about waves. This isn't even the first wave, and it's not even a big one, because there's more coming, unfortunately. I think that there's going to be a big mental health scare coming, because there's going to be a lot of people who, when we finally say, hey, you can come out of your apartments, we're going to find out 25% of them don't want to ever come out again. And that's a really frightening aspect, to have people hidden away for the rest of their lives.
Why do you think it's so high? Because that's a big
well,
number.
I don't know what the number is, but I mean, I can speak to 2 or 3 people that I know who come out of their house once every 3 weeks during this whole thing. And not only is that not healthy from the air aspect of you're just breathing your apartment's
Well, we
air.
know like getting outside kind of
Exactly.
perpetuates getting outside.
Exactly.
Staying inside kind of perpetuates staying inside. You know, staying
Absolutely.
inside, staying in a dark room, playing video games, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean it's
It-
just,
Increases that.
and I mean not being able to see the sun, not seeing other people, you know, it really kind of further distances you, and it makes like it just makes your head go a little nuts. I mean, you can't tell me that, you know, someone who's in jail or someone who's been locked up and gets thrown into solitary and comes out the same person. It's not fucking true. Not at all.
That's the worst thing that we can do to people.
100%.
Right? Is put them by themselves.
And this is what we're doing. We've scared people. We've scared enough people who some of them just may never come back out. And they're always going to wear them. They're always going to be that guy who wears a mask no matter where they go. And they're going to go to Costco and spend $1,300 on, you know, toilet paper
And
and you know,
hand sanitizer.
and hand sanitizer. And it's going to, there, more of these people are coming, and we we need to be kind of a little bit sensitive to that fact, and also just start to try and understand how that's going to affect their actions going forward and how everyone kind of relates to it. It's going to be really weird. The new normal is going to be, it's going to look funky for sure.
Cool. You guys ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Ooh.
All right, let's see what happens for the. I don't know. We'll see.
But you know, okay.
Hello? Can you see who's calling in?
I cannot right now.
This is Jay Johnson.
Oh, it's Jay Johnson.
No. Whoa. Hey, what's up, Jay Johnson?
So we can't scream into the phone.
I've learned that now. It's okay. You guys are doing great things. I love listening to you guys' project. I'm a former United States Marine Corps member,
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Hoorah.
For real.
and I love everything you guys do. I love all your workouts. I was 170. Now I'm down to about 145. So
Wow.
trying to get back at it, you know?
Good for you, man.
Leaning out.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. Been doing tons of yoga, tons of mobility exercises. Been skateboarding a lot.
Yoga. Can we hang
just
up
had a
on this guy?
newborn kid.
Hey, how much you
Wait.
bench is the main thing. How much you bench?
About 150.
All right. I don't know if we can keep this guy on the line anymore.
no.
Yeah, got a question for us?
Yeah, I wanted to know how Dan Johns University is going. Do you guys believe in that? Should I start Olympic lifting? Like, how could I bulk up?
Yeah, Dan John's got great information. I think Jesse Burdick has been following his career a little bit more closely.
I've known Dan for a long time, and I mean, he's one of the true OGs in the business. You know, he was one of the first books I read, and this was, I don't even know how long ago. I don't want to embarrass him or me for how long ago it was.
He's been keeping it simple forever.
Extremely,
Yeah.
and I think he does a really, really good job of really diluting his information and really giving people kind of thunderbolts to kind of hang on to. And I'm a fan of everything he does. And I mean, he's one of those dudes who, you know, there are people out there whose information and what they do is really, really awesome. But as people, you're just like, eh. Dan John is probably one of the most solid human beings I've ever met in my whole life. So anything that ever has to do with, you know, Dan John, I'm always a huge fan of. I think it's a great place to start. You know, it's kind of in the middle of, you know, right at smack dab in the middle of everything of bodybuilding, weightlifting, powerlifting, strongman type stuff. It's a place that you can build a base to jump off of to anywhere, where sometimes other stuff you really have to kind of have an idea of where you're going. If you can kind of stick with some of Dan's stuff, you'll be able to go in, kind of, you know, pivot and move.
Yeah, especially
to
somebody
whatever
that's in the
else.
military that wants to
100%.
be athletic and still be able to move and not just have giant legs for squats, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's been the problem with me is I did tons of swimming with recon, and then I got injured with recon, and then I got out, and I've been trying to heal my shoulder. I've had a little bit of shoulder mobility. I've gained it back
Good.
through a lot of the stretching.
Good for you.
But I think 99% of what I'm trying to do is just get back to that 170, big chest, 24 pull-ups, you know, that Marine Corps oorah shit. And I'm trying real hard to get up there again. And it's been hard to find the motivation. And watching you guys and seeing how big you guys are, just sitting down and resting all the time, kind of makes me feel lazy. And I feel like I got to sit down and eat more. But, you know, you guys have any advice for that, for
Yeah.
us small guys out there?
100%.
I actually can help you out with that one because, I mean, you're watching them on camera and I have to watch them in person all day, every day, and it can be extremely frustrating. Yeah, but really, dude, it always will come back to your diet if you're trying to gain, in my opinion, because that's the one thing that I thought I was eating like literally as much as I could. Like I'm like I can't breathe, and then Nsima, sorry, bad choice of words. I didn't mean that. I thought that's what you were laughing at. And then Nsima was like, no, let's track your macros. Let's make sure you're all good. And then when I started doing that, I realized that not only was I not getting in enough protein, but I just simply wasn't getting enough calories, period. So,
Yeah, that was my problem when I was first starting out. I went from 140 and I was lean and doing vegan stuff
mhm.
to pure bulking and eating till failure. And I shot up to 155. My calves got bigger, my chest got bigger.
Ooh.
And then I shot
Nice.
up to 175 when I started eating fast food again.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, I know.
And then that was it for me. Like when I got to recon, I was like fucking carbs like crazy, you know.
Mhm.
And then when I got out of recon, I started eating carbs, but I got lazy. And then I got away from carbs because I started getting big. And now I'm just scared of food again. You know, just
Check
like
out
so many people are. You get scared of food. You feel weird when you get full
Yeah.
at night. You know, you go exercise again, you get sore. Just get, you know, you get afraid of being big again. You know, I fear of getting what I want.
Check out the stuff from Stan the Rhino Efforting, and check out the vertical diet. A lot of great information in there. It's going to be your sleep. Obviously, your training is going to be a good signal to get bigger as well. So the style of training that you do is going to be important. But you got to get your sleep. You got to get your nutrition in. And nobody should really be thinking, and I know that people fall into some eating disorders, but there should never be a scenario where that you think that any kind of food is going to make you fat. What we know is that bad behaviors over a long period of time, they can contribute to you gaining body fat. But a piece of cheesecake or ice cream or pizza, those things won't make you fat necessarily, especially when you just have, one of them or you have it occasionally. And also, just because you're not fasting for the day, that won't make you fat. Carbohydrates won't make you fat. So try to unwrap your brain around that. And when you're getting big, it's 100% okay to gain body fat.
I think
Right,
Stan.
because I had a six-pack, but I had a big gut when I was 174, and my cousin kind of gave me crap for it. He's like, you think you're buff, but you got a gut. But I was bloated, from all the MREs and everything else, too. So, you got to get that mental fortitude as well, like you're saying, I think that's great advice.
And also, if tracking makes you a little bit anxious, because some people, when they track and they see it, it makes them anxious, Stan's vertical diet's really dope because it gives you concepts in terms of eating so that, like, once you kind of set it, you don't have to track it anymore. You could just add more rice to a meal.
I have an identical twin brother who was an Army Ranger, and he had the same thing happen. He got injured, and he got out. We're identical twins, and me and him are in the same place physically. We're both unmotivated, both have had success, and now have had failure, both out of working out. And he used to be my gym partner, and just him being gone and me being in Missouri now and him being in California, and I'm moving to Texas next month. Hopefully when I move to Texas next month, I want to find a weightlifting Olympic-style gym where I can get in with some bigger guys who can help me shape my mindset and get my lifts back.
First of all, follow Jocko Willink. He can get anybody.
Yes,
he can
sir.
get anybody fired up. So make sure you're listening to him. And anytime you see something
His
from
morning
him,
workouts are brutal.
yeah, anytime you see something from him that fires you up, then get outside and start running down the street. And then in addition to that, I would say check out Atomic Habits from James Clear. If you're not into books the way that I'm not into books, then maybe you can check it out via like YouTube and stuff like that. So that will give you. It's just habit forming. We talk about this quite a bit on this show. It would be nice to have that burning motivation inside to wake up early and train. But if you're forcing yourself to do stuff, it most likely won't even be able to become a habit. And you can't work on habits that you haven't formed yet. So you want to be able to form a habit. It's going to be very slow and incremental things. You're not going to just all of a sudden wake up at 4:30 and start training. You might instead just wake up a half an hour earlier than what you're used to currently. And over a period of time, you'll get used to that. So just think of your habits and your motivation as being incremental, the same way that you think about gaining weight, gaining strength, getting leaner, strength training in general. Just think about it being incremental, just like that, and that should help a lot.
That's such great advice because, you guys are putting out so much positivity. And for people trying to get in shape and trying not to be obese and trying to fix the world, it's part of the game. You guys are putting strength and power into people's hands again. and I love the message. And my daughter just woke up, so I got to pull dad duty.
Right on.
But you guys are the best, and I'm gonna keep listening.
Dude, thank you so much for being the first caller, man. Sincerely appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate you and your brother, man. Thank
That
you.
too,
Good
yeah.
luck,
Oh,
bud.
thank you guys. I can't wait to get my chest up and my reps up. So next time I call in, I'll be saying I'd lift up in the 200 club.
There you
There you
go.
go. Right.
Good for you, man.
Love it.
Catch you later. Have a great day.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Pause. One
Pause.
thing. So, PSA,
Dude, why is he flexing on us? Do you notice this?
All the time.
I'm wearing a loose shirt, so I
I
don't
don't
embarrass you. Now, PSA to all the identical twins out there, when you start a conversation, start it with that information. Okay? Because we had a guy, you know Chris Griffin? Yeah. Okay. I didn't know he was a twin until 2.5 years into our friendship.
Yeah.
didn't know that at
There's
all.
another one, identical.
You need to start with that because it's the whole population. That's like the most important thing about you.
Especially the identical thing. 'cause-
Yeah, imagine
'cause
if I had a clone and I didn't tell anybody. Like, oh yeah, by the way, I have a couple clones out there, right? Like it's the same thing, right?
But so when he told you that he had an identical twin, did you start
The man-
thinking like, wait a second, there was that one time where I swear to God you were
Yeah.
off that one day? Was that your brother who
He
was
no,
in here?
he didn't even tell me. I'm with Chris in the gym. I see this guy walk into the gym. I look at him. I look down. I'm just like, fuck. I legit got creeped out because I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, it's my brother. I'm like, your brother? Your twin? And he's like, yeah, it's nothing. It's not
It's
nothing.
not nothing whatsoever at all. I mean,
got someone that looks exactly like you running around.
my girls are twins, but they're not identical, and I mean it's one of their kind of badges. They always
Superpower.
It's always part of them.
Who do we got calling in
I don't
now?
know. Who do we got? Hello?
Yo, this is Dom. What up?
What's up, Dom?
Yo.
Dom.
Oh, man, I feel like a Willy Wonka golden ticket winner.
Hey.
What's going on, guys?
What's going down, man?
Nothing. I'm just on my lunch break, working from home. Just got out of a 10-minute sumo squat.
Damn.
Look at you. I like you,
Nice.
dumb.
What made you want to do the start doing the 10-minute squats?
Actually, got into Nsima's fat loss program on Facebook. Little pilot thing he did, and he had the smooth panther routines on there, and I just started following him ever since, and it's been helping a lot.
Yeah, buddy.
How's the fat loss been going?
It's been good. Pretty steady. Been pretty steady. About 1 pound, 2 pounds a week.
That's great.
I'm like sitting at 229 right now. 6'2",
Yeah.
22 years old.
Good stuff, man.
Has
Hell yeah.
the squats been helping? The 10-minute squat. Have you noticed any changes in mobility?
Mobility for sure. I've always had like tight hips, and just doing the 10-minute squats, and then the other different smooth panther routines that Nsima had in his routine. Definitely helping a lot.
What do you think you
as well as
found to
10-minute
be
walks and stuff like that.
nice? What do you think you found to be effective from the fat loss information that he's putting out? Was there something that you found to be simple to implement into your day-to-day that maybe you weren't catching from other people or something like that?
Oh, for sure. I've been intermittent fasting for probably like 2 years on, typically like at 8 hours, anywhere between 6 to 8 hour feeding window. And that's been helping a lot, as well as just not eating carbs in my first meal. That's been helping a ton. Like, I mean, I still eat like 220 grams of carbs a day, but just not eating them in the first meal, that's helping a ton.
Let me ask you this, man. Since have you always been working from home, or are you working from home because of quarantine?
So I was always partially work from home, like 25 hours a week, but since quarantine now it's full time, which that's been a change too. Can't really go out. I used to working downtown. I'd go walk around the city, go grab a Starbucks, something like that. And now I'm just like stuck in the house going crazy.
And I want to ask you this, man, because I think you can help out a lot of people too, actually. Being at home, you said you've been losing like 1 to 2 pounds a week, making progress, right? What do you think you've changed in terms of your lifestyle in quarantine that's been allowing you to progress?
Well, I mean, I don't. I've been making a lot of my food, which I enjoy cooking, so that helps a ton. Not just going and getting something, fast food or whatever, even though if it would fit the macros or whatever. But cooking it myself, that helps a ton.
probably saves you a ton of money too, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that's one of those underrated, unseen things where if you can actually get people to start making their own meals, doing their own kind of food prep and everything, and not, and being able to be prepared for things and not having to stop at wherever to go ahead and pick up anything, even if it does fit your macros or whatever your diet in general. I think, if we can get people to do that for a month, I mean, the amount of savings is just insane.
How have you controlled yourself, sitting inside your home with the food, just being a couple steps away at all times?
Hey, yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, I go grocery shopping bi-weekly or once every 2 weeks. So I'll have to have my girl hide the protein bars. Like, hey, put these in a separate closet. Disperse them to me once a day, twice a day if I need it. But yeah, I mean, I have her hide the stuff, so I can't go and find it in the cabinet.
I always think back to all the older videos of people who are doing kind of the diet coaching stuff, and they're like, the first thing you got to do is throw out everything in your cupboards. People are like, come on, man. Yep. And I think in this case, people are really figuring out, like, if you keep fresh food in there, it's perishable, and then you can't eat a bunch of just crap. But I mean, if your freezer stock full of ice cream or your cupboards are stock full of chips, pretzels, whatever, whatever your vice is, you're gonna get over there. But I mean, again, kind of cooking for yourself, you don't have room to kind of keep all that other stuff there, and that's almost just another happy accident where if you're cooking for yourself, it's perishable, it's good food, and therefore you're gonna look better, feel better, your pocketbook's feeling better as well, and then mentally it's just much easier because this is just what I have to eat, and I kind of have to eat this or it goes bad. And if you're only shopping once every 2 weeks, you got to have things planned out. So I think I mean, you're doing a great job, dude, and I mean you are a really nice example for everybody else to know that a little bit of discipline, especially in the climate that we're in, really goes a long way, and you can make some amazing progress. So That's awesome, man.
Tom, thanks for calling in, man. You're off the team. Let's get the next caller going.
See you later, homie.
Peace.
Take care.
All right.
That was an embarrassing thing for me in the past, though, man. Like, I used to eat out a lot, and I used to spend a disgusting amount of money out on food.
So while you were doing that, you're like, oh, I'm making good choices, whatever. It's still good, whether you were or not.
Lying to yourself.
I eat clean, bro.
But I mean, when was it? How long were you doing your own stuff before you realized, like, wow, I'm saving $500 a week or whatever it is? How long did you so if we were to say, like, hey, if you just make your own food for 2 weeks, a month, when did it kind of hit for you where you're like, oh, crap?
After the first week.
Really? After the first week?
I downloaded...
How much were you eating?
I downloaded this app called Mint. It was like 3 or 4 years ago to track like my spending.
Yeah.
And then the first week I was like, because I didn't pay attention to it. So I was like, $272 this week. Fuck. So then the next week I just bought groceries and I ate at home. I was just like, wow, this is why I can have some money in my bank account after the month.
Right.
Real talk.
No,
Hey.
I think people need to hear that, though. I mean, a week that's a little excessive. I would have given it 2 weeks, but I mean,
First week.
good for
awesome.
All right. Who do we got on the line?
What's up, guys? It's the boar.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey, this thing actually works.
Yeah, I'm just calling in to make sure everything's working right. You guys got this thing going?
Yeah, we got it cranking. It seems like it's working just fine.
only 6 prank calls so far, so we're that's about average, right?
Amazing. What's going on over there?
We got my boy Jesse Burdick in the house today, podcasting with him. We got a bunch of stuff to film and shoot today, and so just another normal day of work.
Well, cool. I'll be in there a little bit later to come in and do a little lifting. Got to get some lifting on.
Show us how to lift.
Into the gym after a long hiatus.
Yep. All right. Well, good to hear from you. You're off the team, Boar. Catch you later.
All right.
See you, Chris.
Later. That was amazing. So for anybody that's catching this not live, please do actually text 206-737-7369. And the next time we do a live call-in show, you guys will get notified. So that way you won't miss another opportunity. We got a couple people couple more people on the line. You guys ready?
Oh, hey.
That's really cool.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see. Caller, where are you from? Hello.
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 Hi, this is Dave from upstate New York.
Dave,
What's
what's
up,
going
Dave?
down?
What's up, Dave?
Poughkeepsie.
Way farther upstate.
Way further upstate.
Yeah, like
Right
actually
by-
upstate. But anything out of
right
New York
by
City is
Canada.
upstate.
What's going down, man?
Hey guys, I didn't know if you guys touched on the whole CrossFit Rogue Reebok thing yet.
Yeah, I think we're gonna save that for a future episode as we have gather more information. But yeah, CrossFit has had some interesting tweets as of late, and they're really paying a price for it. But yeah, we'll talk about it in a future podcast when we gather more information. Don't want to jump to too many conclusions and say a bunch of wrong stuff that we have to maybe later go back and correct and stuff like that. So thank you for calling in.
Yeah,
You got
I
any
think
other
it was
questions
a
why
big
we got you on the
subject.
horn here? You got any other questions?
Yeah, actually, one other thing. So I've been trying to work toward a 405-pound bench press, and I'm at 365, and I've kind of stalled out for the last few months.
What kind of training are you doing at the moment?
Actually, I was doing the stronger than 30 thing to get
Nice.
all the way, like I keep repeating it all the way to get to about 335, and then I started adding some more sticking point things.
You can.
I'm just wondering if
yeah.
adding more days of the week or something.
I've had a lot of success with bench pressing twice a week, and with utilizing the conjugate system. You might want to check out my book, Jacked and Tan. You might want to check out a book called 531, which I think is one of the greatest books ever written on the topic of getting stronger, because it's very simple but yet extremely effective. But basically, what I would do is I'd have one day a week that was heavy and one day a week that was for speed. And I'll have Jesse talk about it a little bit more. But it was, the West Side Barbell Method. A lot of stuff. There's a lot of options online where you can look up stuff for free. You can also follow along at markbell.com, where we utilize the conjugate system as programmed by Jesse Burdick. So Jesse can fill you in a little bit more on what that system looks like.
Okay.
Every answer, to everyone's question, and the true answer is it depends. So, I mean, if you've been following the Stronger in 30, that's awesome. If you keep repeating it, that's, there's nothing necessarily bad about that. What I would do if you plan to continue to repeat that, opposed to adding more days or something along those lines, what I would do is think about trying to change up some of the exercises and some of the prescribed sets and reps. And then maybe if we call that, a block, the next kind of 30 is Stronger in 30 day, you really focus on dropping all your percentages down and really working on a ton of volume. And then maybe the next one, if you're going to repeat it, you start pushing those percentages up, lowering overall volume down a little bit more and starting to try and push. The cool thing about, this industry is that everything works. And the shitty thing about this industry is that everything works. So, it's all about the synchronicity and the sequencing of things. So I think if you it seems like you're hitting a spot and, you're looking to try and gain that last little 10% to kind of get over 400. I think you got to go back down. I think you'd probably find out that, because of what you're saying, you want to do more days. I would think because you're saying that your volume is a little bit lower because your intensity has been a little bit higher, because the Stronger for 30 is a more intensive, higher intensity opposed to kind of volume side of program. So I would work on maybe the next 30 days or so, next 4 weeks, however it makes sense in your mind. Work on building up your volume a little bit, and then you can kind of creep your way back up. And hopefully, you're going to be able to gain, and what you got to realize is, a gain of 2 or 3% over a couple months is, especially when you're, starting to approach those numbers of, especially a 400, that's a very significant jump. A 10% jump in a month is, those are newbie gains, and it sounds like you're probably past those. So, you got to start being okay with those 2 to 3 or maybe a 5% kind of gain if we do, bring your volume back up.
Just keep in mind too, people train too heavy. Like people are more guilty of training too heavy than they are training too light. And that's one of the reasons why Jim Wendler's book was so successful, is he tries to drill that into your head over and over and over and over again. But people still miss the point when they try to 5-3-1 program and they end up going a little bit too heavy. Make sure you're lifting the weights properly. That is a massively important note. So If you're maxing out every week, because you're trying the stronger in 30 days, because it's a shotgun approach to getting stronger, it'd be time to move into something a little different where you're using a little bit lighter weights. And like Jesse was saying, pump up the volume a little bit.
One other note real quick. I have a question for you guys along with that, because I've noticed that there's a lot of people who they're training, and you'll ask them, when's the last time you took a deload? Just one week.
Sure.
And it's been like, I don't remember the last time I've done that,
Yeah.
right? So some people, I don't know if this is your case and you can answer this question, but a lot of people maybe need to take 1, sometimes even 3 to 4 weeks with just lower volume to back off so they can start progressing again. I've noticed that happens to a lot of people. So, I mean, has that happened to you? Have you taken a deload in a while or no?
I honestly, I haven't taken a deload in like 8 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it'd be good to just, flat out do some bodybuilding for, the next 2-3 weeks.
And honestly, maybe even like, dude, I don't know if you've been benching this whole time, but I find it really effective to like take out the bench totally and switch to maybe like a close grip bench press or an incline bench press.
Or overhead press.
Overhead
yeah,
press.
So, I mean, change those exercises up, move those around. And hopefully, when you do kind of go forward, have the thought process of trying to, I think the conjugate system is amazing because it almost builds in deloads per week. Because it's not allowing you to go max out 2 or 3 times, or 4 times a week. It's going to be one heavy, one light, and you can recover from that. So, I think we did really good of kind of dissecting that. I think that was actually really kind of, fairly impressive. Pat ourselves on the back there. So I agree with Nsima. I think you need to kind of take a week to a month, focus on lowering the weights, pump up that volume a little bit, go chase the pump dragon for a while, and then you can come back and
Pump the magic dragon.
there you go. That's a t-shirt.
It's a sick song.
That's a t-shirt. That's
Awesome.
totally
Thanks,
a t-shirt,
guys. I
right?
appreciate it.
We'll send you one.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Okay. That was great.
I think can we? I know we can't go back to the caller in Texas. I think if you're still listening, was it Jay Johnson? So he's moving to Texas or whatever it was, whoever the guy called in moving to Texas. I think, really try and reach out, find some, if you're having trouble finding a gym that's going to have other lifters in there that you need that motivation, you can feel free to contact me or someone else, on this podcast. We have a list of gyms and a list of people and contacts that you can kind of reach out to and, kind of help you build that in, help you walk into a gym and, you don't necessarily have to be the weakest guy in the room, but to know that there's someone else out there who has already done what you've done and can kind of help you, and you can kind of just follow in their footsteps for a while, that really makes a big difference. So, if we can help that guy out, I kind of meant to say that, but I forgot.
All right, here we go.
Another one.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Russ Drake, and I'm calling from Fargo, North Dakota.
Whoa.
There he is. So just a little quick background. Russ has been following the podcast for a long time. Super jacked. I think he's like 47 years old. Awesome dude. He's always supporting us.
49.
49. There you go.
Russ,
So he's always supported the show. This is an awesome opportunity to talk to a longtime listener. So thanks for taking advantage, Russ. What you up to?
Actually, just left the gym. Just got done deadlifting.
How was it?
It was excellent. It's always awesome. In fact, I kind of just brought him back because over the last year started having some hip issues, and I kind of attributed it to the deadlifts. But here it turns out it really wasn't the deadlift. It was the way I was gripping the bar. I was always gripping the bar overhand, underhand, the same way, and it was causing my body basically to be out of alignment.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of helicoptering a little bit. Are you just using straps, or did you switch to a hook grip, or how did you kind of remedy that situation?
Basically, it just went back and started using just a straight overhand grip and went really, really light over the course of the last couple of months. And it just, I don't know, it seemed to alleviate the problem.
That's awesome, man. I think, we always get the question of, how do you pick which hand, which is over, which is under? It's kind of going to always come back to like whatever's comfortable. But I do think also very similar to using a belt. I think way too many people start with a switch grip and with their belt on. And, I would never recommend doing that or using that until 70 or 80% where you switch your grip. And then also when you throw a belt on or something along those lines, because it can, it inherently it shouldn't, but it can when overused over time and, over so many reps, it can start to lead to poor muscle patterns and, kind of shitty posture and everything along those lines. And, I think you did a great job in kind of dissecting the problem and kind of coming up with a really good solution. And, I would encourage you to try and keep using that overhand grip until you get to where a point where your grip is starting to affect your form in the deadlift, and then you can either switch to whether it's hook grip, straps, and or that over under, because you're probably not going to be doing a ton of volume over 80%, per workout. So yeah, good for you, man. That's awesome.
No, absolutely. And the funny thing about it is taking the deadlifts out of my life for a little while made me realize how much I actually love them and what a benefit they are to your entire body. Just completely love them.
Yeah, and sometimes, what you've done in your past will sometimes lead to a lot of muscle imbalances. Something like collegiate style wrestling. Where you're crouched over and you always have the same foot forward all the time. Jesse actually worked with an athlete that squatted over 1,000 pounds, but he had some major hamstring imbalances because he used to be on a skateboard all the time. So he had one giant leg.
Wow.
He had one giant hamstring, and he ended up having a lot of hip issues and stuff like that. And his one glute was real developed, and the other side there was nothing there, right?
Yeah, that's one of those moments in my career where it's definitely a left turn where you gotta start asking people, hey, what do you do for a living? I worked in the commercial sector for a long time, so I was dealing with a lot of people who were just kind of sitting down. So you start to kind of categorize and put these people in in these patterns of what they're going to do. And then when you see a weird pattern and then you look at someone and you're like, how did you get this way? And then
you're like, I've been on a rowing team and they've been on the one side the whole time.
Right. And it's so easy to pass over and not really deal with. That's why, again, kind of the whole in-person training, makes so much, because if you just have casual conversation with people and you figure out all this other stuff, that was Andy. And then I also remember a client that I had who I figured out was having a really hard time, like sumo deadlifting. And she was moving so odd. And I was like, what did you used to do for a sport, like as a kid? She's like, oh, I was a ballet dancer. And I was like, oh, dude, I know how to teach you how to. It's just a plie with your kind of feet a little bit different. You push your butt back. And then immediately her deadlift went from 135 to like 330 pounds. I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
So, it's one of those things where, if you can take a step back and kind of look at things as a whole and try and understand, how did you get to where you are, and start thinking about like, oh, it's not a problem. This is just a pattern. Mm-hmm. And then you can figure those patterns out eventually. It may take a while. But with some good thought processes in it, you can kind of dissect it and figure it out. So, those are always. Andy was just a weird dude, anyways. But that was one of those things that was just a total head shake, and I'd seen him 4 to 5 times a week for years before I had really noticed that his right glute was just not there. And he had one ass cheek.
Yeah, you're not normally checking these guys' asses.
Not as much as I should have been. Those are kind of finding those like huge inconsistencies in people's bodies and movement patterns is always fascinating.
Russ, you got any questions for us while we got you on the horn here?
Just how are you guys doing over there?
We're doing great, man. And I see you comment. Yeah, I see you commenting on all the posts and stuff like that. Yeah, we're doing really good. We're just in here creating more content.
Mm-hmm. How long have the gyms been back open up in North Dakota? Did you have much of a close?
Actually, we did. We were 100% closed down in North Dakota and Minnesota. And we have, I guess for us, we have both of our pro shops, our stores are in the gyms. So when the gyms closed down, our stores shut down and pretty much everything got completely shut off. And that was for about, I would say, 4 months, and we've been back open for about 2 weeks.
Wow. Well, I'm sure you're pumped to be back too.
We are, but what I'm really more pumped for is when you guys start talking about things like how lifting can bring us together. It takes me back to being a young guy when you're in the gym and there was so much camaraderie, and it just, gosh, with everything that's going on today, I just really feel kind of like you guys that camaraderie is needed. So almost like Mark says, we can lift through it. When you take a look around at all this, I wish more people would pay attention to their health, get into the gym, start talking to each other, and I don't know, maybe alleviate some of these problems. Not everything, obviously, but what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I couldn't agree with you more, man. I think more than ever, people need to get into the gym, not necessarily just to see other people, but, you know, so many people don't understand of what a mental stress relief lifting is. And, you know, I would never consider myself anti-people, but, you know, at the end of a day, you know, I don't want to talk to anybody. But, you know, now that I haven't seen, you know, I see a couple hundred people a day normally, you know, I don't see those people. And it's, you know, it has had a weird effect on, you know, kind of my mental health side of things. And I think, you know, a lot of other people are kind of struggling with the same thing. And, you know, being able just to even just get out of your house and even, you know, break a sweat and just feel good. It's difficult to kind of replace that because oftentimes you really don't even know that it's there. And you don't miss it until it's gone, and it's very hard for people to figure out. But yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that more than ever, you know, we need these gyms open, and we're struggling with that in California, you know, specifically in the Bay Area where they are not open. And I think, you know, I think it's not necessarily just a physical issue. You know, it's an emotional and a mental health issue too. And I hopefully maybe things like the gym and working out will, you know, carry a little bit more weight in the future and people understand how important it is.
Yeah, Russ, you bring up a great point. You know, I think people, you know, just being like involved in your community, you know, for me,
Yeah.
I'm not overly involved in my community. Like I'm not necessarily like going to like a church and stuff like that. I'm not part of like a board or anything of that nature, but my one like communal service is going to a gym and having a gym that's free. And in addition to that, you know, just like going on like walks all the time. And like, I'm always walking around the community. So I'm very aware of, you know, I run into certain UPS workers and FedEx people and things like that. And so I think what you're bringing up and, you know, the idea of like live through it, it's not necessarily just a lifting as much as I am obsessed with lifting and love lifting. It's just being a part of your community. And I think everyone just needs to figure out a way, some sort of way to be part of their community or a community. It doesn't really matter how you figure it out. Maybe you really dig like rock climbing, or maybe you really like going on a hike, or maybe like cycling or something. But I've seen a lot of people out, you know, riding their bikes and doing different things. And some people were really almost built for this quarantine type stuff. They didn't have to really switch their plans up because they didn't maybe physically go to a gym, you know, and the gym wasn't something that they kind of needed for their, you know, quote unquote community service. But other people that were going to church and were leaning on going to restaurants, or what about the restaurant owners that they love food, but it's not because they love food. It's love that they love serving people the food and seeing the reaction to how they cook the food. I mean, these people, like, this is their life. This is like it's their thing. You know, they love it, and they love, you know, it's not just that they love pizza, because we all love pizza, but they love serving, you know, their version of what they cooked up, and I mean, they love seeing the reaction.
I mean, you can boil it down. They love making people happy.
100%.
You know, and I mean, to have that taken away from you is, I mean, it's heart-wrenching. It's awful.
Yeah, dude, Russ.
Oh, absolutely.
I was just going to say, thank you so much, man. You've been a loyal listener. We sincerely appreciate that. There's no way we could ever really thank you enough for that. But I just want you to know that we will be doing this again in the future. So when you do see the call-in show pop up, please take advantage, because we absolutely love talking to you today, man.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm going to come lift with you guys someday, so
Even better.
I'll be ready for that.
Yeah, dude. We'll catch you later, man. Thank you.
Yep, have a good day, guys.
You too, Russ.
All right, let's take this one home. Andrew, you want to take us on out of here?
Absolutely. So again, thank you everybody for checking out today's first ever call-in show. For those of you guys, oh, hold on, wait, I changed cameras. There we go.
Hey,
Three-way, four-way.
Three-way? Are we going to do a three-way?
Okay.
It kind of hurt.
Over here.
Was that as awkward as all of your other three-ways, Nsima?
No.
All right.
No.
They're all pretty.
It's better.
Yeah.
Smoky.
Smokey, you know what we're talking about.
Oh, yes. Where's the number? Anyway, so if you guys missed today's call-in show, please text. I don't even know. You have to text whatever. Text just
Farts.
Yeah. Text farts to 206-737. Yeah, the air cloud emoji.
Yeah.
206-737-7369. So that way, the next time we do a call-in show, you guys will get a text notification and probably a link and all that good stuff.
Quinn does a rhinoceros and then the fart explosion thing.
He
sends that to me all the time.
Is that for Stan?
I think so.
Okay.
But it just looks like it's blowing out of its butt.
It's perfect. It reminds me of Ace Ventura when he gets. Anyway, so thank you everybody for checking out today's episode. Thank you to Piedmontese for sponsoring this first ever call-in show. For more information on them, please check the YouTube description, Facebook description if we put it up there, iTunes show notes all over the place. Please make sure you're following the podcast at Mark Bell's Power Project on Instagram, at MB Power Project on Twitter. We're also on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can follow me at I am Andrew Z on Instagram. Nsima, if somebody were to get in touch with you, how could they do so?
And Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, and Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. GS.
Jesse Burdick on all platforms, jesseburdick@gmail.com.
Peeps, check out markbell.com. We got a lot of great programming on there, a lot of cool stuff going on. It's a pleasure to do it with my BFF over here, to have Jesse Burdick, handling a lot of the programming and a lot of the content that's on there. Shout out to our boy Josh Setledge, who is working day and night on the website. Really appreciate him putting in that kind of effort. Remember, you can go over there and you can actually physically put up points on the scoreboard. You might want to check that out and see what it's like. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Catch y'all later. Bye.